Hey everybody, this is TUSDarryl and welcome back to, wait, hold up, you're not coming back to anything. This is my review of Hollow Knight. There's a lot of things I have to say and a lot of things I want to get done with this review. Well, not really. I just want to tell you how the game is and whether or not I liked it enough to recommend it to you. But still, there's a lot in there, so bear with me. First things first, you know how it goes at this point. Let's start with the story. In Hollow Knight, you play as a wanderer with a nail for a weapon who explores the large and immersive land of Hollow Nest. Also, you're a bug among bugs in a bug-infested world desperate to kill you. But don't worry, you'll meet plenty of cool allies along the way. Trust me. I'd like to go into more detail with the story, but I'd rather not spoil what I do know or accidentally say something I don't understand quite yet, since being a Metroidvania, there are a lot of things I've missed and a lot of things I've ignored. Not in a bad way, of course. It's just the nature of the beast. Moving on to the graphics. The art style of Hollow Knight is distinctive and very easy to notice. Not only can it be downright gorgeous at times, but a lot of the time it can get terrifying. Revisiting locations doesn't even get boring due to how interesting the various biomes and environments are. Not to mention how seamless a lot of the transitions between each environment are from place to place to place to place to place to place to place. I really wish I didn't say environment twice there, but hey, I wrote this. Script, that is. I'm reading from a script because there's a lot I had to put down and I don't want to ramble too much like I am now. Yeah, moving on to sound. The sound in Hollow Knight can be summed up in one word: tight. Oftentimes there is so much going on that sometimes you can get lost in the sauce, but even when that happens, it's kind of good. It's a good chaos. It's the good kind of sauce. The sauce that you always buy first, regardless of where you're shopping at. You know the one. Don't lie to me. I'll find you. No, I won't, especially with quarantine. I hope you guys are being safe. Seriously. I specifically love the sound of the nail clashing with other weapons and things in the environment, as well as the ambience, however you want to say it, when traveling from location to location to really hit home that you were once walking on stone. Now you're walking on bones. All in all, graphics are beautiful. All in all, sound is awesome. But what about the music though? Hollow Knight's music is a bit of a mixed bag, and I don't mean that in regards to quality. I mean that sometimes it can be very ominous or borderline dreamy. Both Hornet's theme and The City of Tears are up there with some of my favorite tracks on the soundtrack. It's definitely worth buying on its own. Even if you don't like the game, just buy the soundtrack, buy the music, and blast that in your radio, stereo, at a club, wherever you want really. It's strangely appropriate for almost every situation you can think of. That's how varied it is. And I love it for that. Hopping into gameplay, the meat and bones of Hollow Knight. Yeah, the gameplay's pretty sick. Now I know I sound like I'm hyping the game's gameplay up as well as everything else a lot. I have my gripes, but they're very small and very, personal. They're nothing that's like gonna prevent anyone outside of me from playing the game. For example, I'm gonna give you the meh part of the gameplay first before I get into the nitty-gritty of what makes it awesome. And the only thing I can really think of is it has a really slow start. Now that's just me. It's really slow in the beginning. I've played other Metroidvanias where I felt like I could do more in the beginning, but Hollow Knight really says, nope, the best you can do right now is jump and swing. Or just swing your sword. That's all. That's all you need for now. And then by the time you reach the end of the game, you're using every button on your controller. And yes, play it on a controller. Do not play it on keyboard and mouse. Now, there are probably plenty of people out there that do use the keyboard and mouse for Hollow Knight, and I don't blame them. I don't judge them. That's how they do. I can't do it that way. I highly prefer the controller. Moving along, being a Metroidvania, Hollow Knight allows for a very non-linear experience. So it's easy to get a bit lost initially, but eventually you unlock more abilities and whatnot to help you along your way. Combat in Hollow Knight was a little awkward for me at first, since I was expecting to be pulling off slashing combos or something along those lines, but as I said earlier, it starts off pretty slow and gives you like one or two buttons to work with. That's the way I was thinking. That's not how combat works in the beginning of the game. And in a way, it doesn't really work in the grand scheme of things in the game. The game is very meticulous with how combat is handled. Most fights in the game come down to find the opportunity to attack, strike once or twice, or 3 times if you're daring, then back off, unless you want to get destroyed for being too aggressive. Which for me, who likes being aggressive all the time, was a struggle. And kind of frustrating here and there, but the combat is just that fun that I wanted to get better at it. This style of combat makes it less of a battle of who can deal the most damage the quickest, and more of a battle of how much damage can I do when I get the chance and how do I do it. It's very satisfying when you figure out the pattern of an enemy or boss, then proceed to cut them down to size. You can also attach charms to notches in your inventory to give you a bit of an edge in combat, as well as use spells to aid you. Now, when exploring Hollownest, you'll meet different allies and creatures that'll teach you a thing or two, be it lore, a skill, or simply saying hello in their quirky or sometimes creepy way. I highly recommend speaking with them if you want to understand the greater narrative. I highly recommend that, and I can't stress it enough, because there's a lot that I didn't understand simply because I didn't really read too much into what they were saying, or really pay attention to every clue in the background, and I love environmental storytelling. Speaking of greater narrative, there are multiple endings to Hollow Knight. Contrary to what I said in my playthrough, I did not, in fact, get what was considered the true ending. I got the default one because I was missing many other steps. Steps that I probably would not have done anyway, because the series would have gone on for another, 20 videos. And as much as I like Hollow Knight, I don't want to play and record it and edit it for another 20 videos. There might be a game like that out there, just not Hollow Knight. That's not detracting from the score, that's just, let's call it like it is. It's laziness. It's laziness. That said, I may revisit the game at some point, since you can continue from your last save file to do anything else you want to do before you beat the boss again. And considering that Silk Song might be on the horizon at some point this year or next year, I might, just to refresh myself. Are there any bugs in this game? Yes, there are plenty, and they are infected, and they will fucking kill you. Learn to dodge. So ultimately, what do I give Hollow Knight? A go for, a caution, or avoid? Well, if it wasn't obvious from the get-go, it's a give for it. Why was I going to say it like that? It's a go for it. If you're a lover of new worlds to explore, as well as a lover of rich lore and storytelling, and a big fan of Metroidvanias, then I can highly recommend Hollow Knight. If you're not a fan of Metroidvanias, well, then it's going to be tricky for me to sell this to you. But I would give it a caution if you're not a fan of Metroidvanias. It's definitely not something I think anyone should avoid. I think everyone should at least give it a shot. To this day, there are still people playing this game, trying to piece some things together, much like people are with Dark Souls and the like. So if you're down for an engaging Metroidvanian experience, then look no further than Hollow Knight, which is currently available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, Mac OS, Linux, and PC. Basically on everything. Oh, and Wii U as well, I guess, if you haven't gotten around to getting a Switch yet, or refused for some reason to get one. With that said, I'm looking forward to the next installment, Hollow Knight Silk Song, which we know so little about. In the meantime, though, enjoy your time in Hollownest, and enjoy the sights and music. After all, I hear they're quite infectious. I'm TUSDarryl, and I hope you guys have enjoyed your stay. See you later.